The Silly Larry Intervention. The Silly Larry Intervention Plan is needed to change alcohol consumption behaviours relating to males 16 to 24 years old. Research conducted draws attention to the fact that among this demographic, perceptions and attitudes surrounding irresponsible alcohol consumptions are daunting. Pre-drinking sessions and drinking games are the key focuses of the intervention. Through syndicated advertising, humour, professional endorsements, various themes and other tools, the Silly Larry campaign potentially has the power to drive a significant change to the attitudes and behaviours of this group, which would overall lead to the benefit of the community. Irresponsible alcohol consumption is a significant issue faced by young Australian males. There is a large culture within this demographic of binge drinking and irresponsible drinking. Pre-gaming or pre-drinking sessions and drinking games are great contributing factors to these issues. The Silly Larry intervention provides a targeted audience with a campaign where their attitudes towards pre-gaming and drinking games would have the greatest chance of being put into question. There is a serious need for change in behaviours with young men as the facts surrounding the issue with this group are worrying. A popular trend with the youth of today is to participate in pre-gaming sessions before a night out. A pre-gaming session is where an individual or group consume alcohol before going to another event. Pre-gaming tends to be associated with high levels of alcohol consumption and high risk negative outcomes. Pre-gaming sessions among young males often involve drinking games and a competitive drinking environment. The average person surveyed reported drinking 4.9 drinks in a pre-gaming session, which is almost considered a binge drink, which is 5 drinks. Due to inexperience and tolerance levels, young people have a greater chance of accidental or violent injury as well as developing mental health problems such as depression or self-harm due to alcohol. Consuming large amounts of alcohol is often considered admirable at pre-gaming sessions. Binge drinking is associated with high status groups, white, male, affluent, and is a way of displaying power, money, and time to demonstrate skill by consuming large amounts of alcohol. Those that are socially anxious seek out drinking game situations as they believe it is a safe form of social interaction. The aims of the intervention plan are to drive a behavioural shift about the perceptions of binge drinking and being unduly intoxicated and the elements that are associated with these issues, such as pre-gaming and drinking games that are popular among young males. The aim is to minimize alcohol consumption at pre-gaming sessions and drinking games by depicting these actions as juvenile and foolish. Research of the target audience showed that many young males drink irresponsibly and in excess for social benefits. The campaign is made up of humorous advertisements of Larry, who finds himself too intoxicated and can't make the night out and therefore has embarrassed himself, as seen in print advert 3. The aim is to make these adverts funny for the target audience to give them the best chance of being distributed throughout social media and so that they are remembered. Considerable research evidence has indicated that humour has a positive impact on attention. It is also stated that male audiences regard humorous commercials as more persuasive. It is the aim of the intervention to portray these events and behaviours negatively and depict those who participate in these sorts of cultures as undesirable or unattractive. In order for this intervention campaign to run effectively and efficiently, it would require funding or assistance. Funding is vital for expenses such as commercial or support costs. Potential partners that would contribute to the funding of this intervention would involve government agencies such as Queensland Health or the National Health and Medical Research Council and provide grants to certain issues that affect Australian health. The campaign's focus is to drive a behavioural and attitude change towards males, and therefore it is vital that the campaign is associated with partners that are considered cool or attractive to the target audience of young males. Other alternatives to this would involve potential partners such as professional Australian sporting clubs such as AFL or NRL clubs, as they often have large followings, particularly from young men. These types of elite sporting clubs would provide the target audience with more incentive to adopt the behaviour change that is endorsed by an entity which is admired by the group. It could also use the entities such as this to promote its adverts on social media, which would be channeling its message straight to the target audience. Clubs and bars would be another party that would have an invested interest in the Silly Larry campaign. Clubs and bars would have an interest in the campaign as it is illegal to serve unduly intoxicated patrons alcohol. It would also lead to less alcohol-related violence or injuries and other related issues that they are faced with. The product can be broken down into the core product, the actual product, and the augmented product. The core product is the benefits that the individual or group will receive from the product. This intervention product can result in multiple benefits for the consumer. The product will provide benefits such as not looking foolish like Larry. There are many benefits to drinking responsibly, but the campaign focuses on the benefit of not facing the consequences of drinking irresponsibly as displayed by Larry. The core product of drinking responsibly includes having an enjoyable night out without the negative effects of irresponsible drinking. The core benefits involve lasting on a night out without getting unduly intoxicated. The core product also includes a range of social factors such as not embarrassing oneself by getting unduly intoxicated, vomiting, falling unconscious, or any other possible scenarios that may occur whilst drinking irresponsibly. The core product is also negating all the negative health effects that coincide with irresponsible drinking and reduce the risk of injury or alcohol-related violence. The actual product is drinking responsibly, or rather, to not drink irresponsibly. The actual product is to stay clear from drinking games and to reduce the amount of alcohol consumed at pre-gaming sessions. The augmented product involves the adverts both print and audio. There are many price barriers that may prevent young males from adopting the behaviour change. Costs that may keep some from taking on the behaviour change include social pressures and saving money by drinking before attending a venue where drinks are more expensive. The Silly Larry campaign hopes to minimise the perceptions of these costs through various elements of the advertisements. Socially anxious persons seek out drinking games as a safe form of interaction. Some may see sacrificing this as a significant cost, putting them out of their comfort zone and into a social setting without the ease of socializing through a drinking game. A strategy to minimize the perceptions of these costs was to only show the negative effects of drinking games where Larry has passed out and now looks silly, which is what a socially anxious person would hope to avoid. Refer to print ad 1 and 2. Another cost associated with minimizing the alcohol consumption at pre-gaming is the monetary costs that some see they will have to spend when they are out at a club where drinks are more expensive. The Silly Larry campaign hopes to rid this cost through print advert 3, where Larry has had too much to drink and won't be making the night out, which hopes to make the target audience prioritize whether they risk consuming a large amount of alcohol where perhaps they could not make the next part of the night or pay for drinks once they are out at the club. There are a few places that could be used as interaction points with the target audience. These can involve liquor stores, the pre-gaming venue, and clubs and pubs. The liquor store is a contributor to the amount of drinks consumed at a pre-gaming session. If there was a Silly Larry intervention inside the liquor store, it could persuade consumers to only buy alcohol in moderate amounts to reduce the chances of a large amount of alcohol being consumed at the pre-gaming session. The pre-gaming session venue is a place in which it is difficult to create barriers of irresponsible drinking. In order to overcome this, audio adverts could be played more frequently during periods where pre-gaming would most likely occur, such as Friday or Saturday nights. Clubs and bars could minimize the time barriers and make the competing behavior less convenient by incenting free entry to those who come before a certain hour of the night. This could motivate the target audience to leave the pre-gaming session early and reduce the amount of alcohol consumed by the individual. Posters and signs could be used outside the clubs reminding patrons that they will not be granted access into the club if they are unduly intoxicated. The promotion strategy of the Silly Larry campaign will ensure that the benefits of adopting the behavior change is communicated clearly to the target audience. The campaign will use syndicated advertising to channel the message via different mediums. Having print adverts of the Silly Larry campaign posted up in or outside of bottle shops would be an effective way to reach those that would be most harmed by the issue. This would not only be effective by hitting the right audience, but it would do so in a time frame where the content of the advert is fresh in the mind of the viewer, as members of this target audience buying alcohol would most likely be consuming the alcohol of the night of the purchase. A Silly Larry Drink Responsibly page would be made as the homepage for the campaign on Facebook. From there, Facebook offer paid advertising to boost the amount of people that see the posts and interact with the page. Facebook offers a service in which it allows an entity to advertise to its target market. It allows the market to be segmented based on gender, age, location, interests, and many other categories. The Silly Larry campaign would choose to target Australian males aged 16 to 24 from the selection of segments. The aim of the campaign was to add humour to the adverts so that they have the best chance of being distributed for free around Facebook via shares, likes, and comments. This could also increase the life of the campaign, as the adverts will continuously be distributed around Facebook. The campaign would also attempt to collaborate with potential partners or stakeholders such as elite sporting clubs or popular pages to the target market for them to share the adverts, which would not only be distributed to the mass amount of the target audience, but would also give the advert some authority in which it may not have had without the endorsement of the supporting pages. The audio component of the campaign would use other mediums to help the message reach out to the target audience through different channels. The audio advert would be delivered to the target audience through mediums such as radio or music streaming services such as Spotify or SoundCloud. Radio stations that would be most suitable would be the ABC's Triple J network that have an intended audience of 18 to 24-year-olds. Spotify is similar to Facebook in which it allows advertising to segments. This can also be based on gender, age, and the music that is being listened to. The three print adverts are consistent as the text in the top of the advert shows the context of the advert followed by the Foolish Larry quote. On the bottom of the adverts is a sentence telling the viewer not to follow the behaviours of Larry. Print advert 1 shows a young male next to the toilet bowl passed out, whilst a group of girls are in a nearby bathtub. This advert was designed to contrary the perceptions of those amongst the target audience that drink alcohol to reduce social anxieties and puts emphasis on the negative social effects of irresponsible drinking. Print advert 2 shows a young male passed out over a ping pong table as a result of drinking games. The text in the advert tells the viewer that this was the result of a drinking game and follows by adding don't play drinking games unless you want to be a loser. It is aimed to show that Larry is a loser, but insinuates that anybody that plays drinking games are losers. Print advert 3 shows Larry passed out over a table with empty bottles of alcohol surrounding him. The text in the advert tells the audience that Larry wanted to get drunk before going out, making him look foolish. At the bottom of the page states, "If you don't want to look like a flog, take it easy on the grog." This sentence reminds consumers of the social consequences of irresponsible drinking, as now judgment is being posed onto Larry. Audio Advertisement 1. Larry, are you ready to go out? The cab just arrived. Oh, I don't feel too good. I wish I had have slowed down a bit. Huh, yeah, I agree. You look a bit silly now, don't you, Larry? Oh, you don't need to pre-drink to have a good night. Drink responsibly. Audio Advertisement 2. Oh, I wish I didn't play that drinking game. I feel really sick. Yeah, you don't need to play a drinking game and get drunk to have a good night. You look a bit silly now, don't you, Larry? Oh. Drinking games are often not as good of an idea as some may think. Certainly not Larry. Drink responsibly. The audio advertisements were aimed at persuading the target audience to follow the attitudes and behaviours of the other entities in the advertisements besides Larry. The partygoer speaks to Larry in an upbeat tone to show that he is having fun and confident, whilst Larry is moaning and appears undesirable in the advertisement. The narrator was to speak in a deep tone to show masculinity and power and give his message more potency with the target audience. The partygoer gives Larry advice, and both the partygoer and the narrator pose subtle judgment onto Larry because of his behaviours. Upon evaluating the intervention, many factors should be looked at. The target audience is males 16 to 24 years old, but pre-gaming and drinking games is also a significant issue for females of the same age. The campaign also neglects to address serious alcohol-related issues such as certain health factors, alcohol-related violence or injury, and other issues. There are few ethical considerations and potential unintended consequences that the intervention campaign may cause. An issue that might arise through the intervention campaign is that in all three print adverts, it shows a male figure that is unduly intoxicated. A problem that arises is that some may think that this is normal behavior as they see it in all the adverts, and they may conform to this behavior out of a fear of looking weak or soft. According to a study, males conform to drinking behaviors of those in their social groups. The intervention attempts to overcome this through the audio advertisements. In the audio advertisements, Larry is shown as being sick and is in regret of his actions. This illustrates Larry as being weak. The audio advertisements show authority figures of both the partygoer and the narrator. The partygoer tells Larry that his actions weren't needed in order to have a good night and goes on to tell him that he looks silly, with the narrator reiterating the same message immediately after. With both of these authority figures posing judgment on Larry, it would make the message clear. The Silly Larry intervention campaign is vitally needed in Australia, especially for the target audience. A culture and behaviour change in young Australian males is needed. The Silly Larry campaign addresses key themes that will motivate those in the target audience to make the behaviour change. Through a clever and creative marketing mix targeting the intended audience, behaviour changes to minimise pre-drinking, drinking games, and irresponsible drinking overall would be at its greatest.